Then you just ramp this right off. Yes.
Nice job.
Hey, look it started.
Just got tuned up in the shop.
Leave the gas in for now.
Easy, we don't need a big need of help.
No, we don't need to be falling. Safety first.
What? Alright, so we're out here at my land. It is July 17th, I think, middle of July. My wife and I bought this land end of last season in December, so we didn't get a whole lot to do last year. I was able to get out and shoot a doe with the bull late season in January, and then we did some turkey on here this spring. But now we're really trying to get as much done this summer as we can to get it ready for fall. And we're pretty much starting from scratch. The property, it's a decent property, but it was all overgrown and there was no trails through it, nothing paths cut or anything. So we have this big barn that we're trying to clean out and get some storage into. But we started out, we were cutting paths, and we cut paths through this willow growth back to the food plot, and we got to get that worked up. And then we got a couple of redneck blinds picked up to put on the food plot and then one in the woods. So we're just going to go through, we'll kind of show you what we've done so far and what our plans are to go forward. And I know it's probably most people's dream to own their own hunting land, just like it was mine. And it's not always as hard as most people think. You don't always have to have a ton of equipment, a ton of high dollar stuff. We're coming out here today, we have our four-wheelers. My brother Mike's out here with me at the four-wheelers. And Jake's out here, he's filming. And pretty much we have, I brought a weed whacker today to start cutting down where we're going to put the food plot. And we have some spring tooths that we're laying here that we're going to drag with the four-wheelers to work up the food plot. A lot of this stuff you just got to put a lot of work in. It sucks, it's 90 degrees out right now. But this is the time of year you got to put the work in so it's ready for fall. And we've done quite a bit already. When we bought the land, there was no access, it was just a farm field. So we got a cement access poured and gravel poured in. My wife's family helped us with that. And then we're just been in here as much as we can trying to clean up and get things ready for fall. It's gonna take some work, but it's gonna get there, and I think it'll pay off in the long run. Yeah, none of this. This is all just tall grass. Stop here and where are you going? So this is where, this was just a big stand of willows like it is on both sides. But this is where we wanted to have the access through because we only own a little bit here between the farm field and the next property owner. So we cut this through here, and when we first cut it in spring, this was fairly dry. But it's been a really wet summer, at least early on. It's starting to dry up now, but we've had a lot of water, so this has got all muddy and ruddy. So we've been hauling these big slabs of rock in here and putting these down to build up a base. And then I'm gonna get some more gravel and put gravel over this so that way we can get the four-wheelers in and out and be able to have easier access into our hunting area. But this is all, you know, we cut all this stuff with chainsaws. This is all broken up cement pieces that were laying by the barn. So we're just trying to use all the supplies and stuff that we have, you know, without having to spend a ton of money on it. And it seems like it's working. It's starting to build up a good base, so the more we drive on, the more it packs down, better the trail's gonna be. This is where we're gonna put our food plot. The farmer that we bought the land from, they tried planting this the last year, but it was too wet in spring, so nothing ever came up. So this is kind of a good area to start with that we could use as a food plot, but we're just gonna, as you can see, it's about half cut. We've been trying to cut it with weed whackers and mowers, and something I didn't mention before is for helping cutting our trail through, we rented a brush cutter. You know, they're fairly expensive to buy one, but we just rented one from Home Depot. It's like $100 for a day. We rented it and we came in and we cut all the stuff. And I may actually do that again, rent it and come in, mow the rest of this down and mow in where I'm gonna put my box blinds and that. And
go on our Instagram page. I think we have a video of us using the brush mower on there.
A couple weeks back when we rented it, we cut it, and it definitely was worth the money for I think it was like $120 from, you know, like I said, from Home Depot. It was worth the money. It cut the path all the way through here to the woods, cut everything that we drove in on. So that's where we're gonna be, you know, we're gonna try and get the rest of this cut down, get this worked up and planted, you know, by the beginning of August, so that way it's good for most of fall. We're gonna do another video when we plant it and the whole process with that. But this is, we have fenced in, we planted a dozen apple trees here. They're just seedlings, so it's gonna take a few years, but eventually it'll be a nice little apple orchard there. And then behind us in this grass and wetlands that's behind us, we planted just shy of 200 trees this spring. You know, cedars, white pines, oaks, maples, a mixture of stuff to try and grow up some of this to create more bedding area. I mean, the cattails are great bedding area, but I'd like some more cover. But all, you know, that stuff too, it wasn't real expensive. It was just time consuming, coming out, digging the holes, clearing it, putting them in. We went to the local Parks and Recs and they have a sale every spring, so we ordered a couple hundred trees and we put them in this spring here. So we'll try and do a little bit every year, and hopefully every year it gets a little better and better. So it's exciting to be out here working on our own land. It's fun. So now this is, obviously we took the trail from the food plot over to the woods part of the property, and this is another spot that I'm going to put one of them other redneck blinds. I'm going to get it tucked back in here. There's a lot of gnarly undergrowth, but not a lot of really good spots to put a tree stand. So we're going to tuck it in here, because this last year, like I said, in December, we noticed a lot of deer were traveling right along the edge of the woods here, coming out to the field. So here we can shoot out to here, you can shoot into the woods and cover just a little finger that sticks out. We should be able to cover the whole thing with one blind. Plus the blinds are going to be really nice for early season. You know, when it's hot, you can have a thermostat in there and consider yourself a little better. So I'm excited about that, using them for that.
How many Browning trail cameras you got out here?
6 of them right now. Been running them. Actually, since the day we bought it, we've been putting them out. They've been out here running around the clock.
Very good cameras.
Yeah. Equipment that was left in here.
Oh yeah.
This is all
Tractor
manure
frame or
spreader.
Manure spreader.
What's that? Yeah.
It's like 4 inches off the ground.
You are kidding. Thick underbrush.
Spring tooth. Looks like a good one. Brand new. Never used.
Oh yeah. Did it come with that tree?
Yeah, it comes with the tree. It's a special model. This is where, so we're thinking about tucking that second redneck right in here. We sat here, you know, after we bought the land last year, we sat right here, and I passed several deer that worked this edge down, but we heard more going through behind us through this, but it's thick, it's nasty, there's a lot of down trees. And I really don't want to cut much of that out. It's a lot of good cover. They're really comfortable in that. So if I can get the blind tucked right in here where I have good cover, I can shoot out to there, I can shoot to this opening. I think it'll be a really good spot to catch them going back and forth from bedding to feed. I'm not going in too far where I'm bumping them off their bed, and I'm not sitting too far out where I'm missing them before they hit the feed. I think it's gonna be a good spot. So this will be where we put the second redneck line. So this spring we were in here and we shed hunted, and we had problems with trespassers, so we feel like they picked up some of the sheds that maybe we could have found. Not saying there was a lot of sheds on here, but we searched this property pretty decent shed hunting and spring turkey hunting, and this is Jake's first time in the property, and he just found this little shed laying here, stepped right over it. Just a little guy, but
I'll chew it up.
Shed's
cool.
a shed.
First shed on the property. It's kind of neat.
That's pretty cool.
Good job, Jacob.
Thank you.
It's always neat when you go on a new property, or like for us, we bought this property in December, so we didn't get to see a whole lot of it. We seen it last fall as we went through the process of walking and buying it, but this summer we really got to dissect and see the property, and it's always neat to see stuff that's been left here from behind, like all this, you know, all the stones here and all the metal and stuff from farmers in the past. And obviously somebody thought this was a good spot to deer hunt way back when, so this has got to be a good spot now, right?
That is a big tree.
A lot of history.
The tree's seen a lot of things.
Yes, it has. Yeah, that's probably it. Pretty much, I'm just hoping, I mean, really, we probably don't need a whole lot more. I'm just hoping to get those dry stuff there. Yeah, maybe one more load. You know, I want to put gravel over it, so this just hopefully to build up so the gravel doesn't sink so far in.
Like I said, we were on the chipper too. And you put wood chips around a lot of it. That'll...
You know, because otherwise, all them ruts, the gravel would have had to fill all that in. Now it doesn't have to.
That's exactly what we did in front of our chicken coop.
Yeah.
We did chunks of cement, pea gravel between it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.